Hi guys, Matt Lemke here with Randall Bills at Catalyst Game Labs booth at Adepticon. This is their second year here now. First year.
No, we've been here quite a few years. I think 2018 was our first year.
No, I meant at Milwaukee.
Oh yeah, sorry, Milwaukee. Yeah, second year.
Yeah, you guys have been here a long time. You were here.
Yeah, no.
Really?
This is 2018. I didn't come that year, but Catalyst was there.
Yeah. Well,
and then I came the very next year because it was so well received. Bryn and Talon did a great job, and they're like, we've got to go bigger, got to come, and this is now one of my favorite conventions. I love this one.
Well, you have freedom to do things at this show. Like, I haven't been here since 2018, so this is a recursion back for me. And one thing that blows my mind is, like, you might notice I'm not wearing a badge at this show. You can come in, walk around, take pictures, talk to people, buy stuff.
I wish, so the only thing you need a badge for is to actually play the games.
Yep.
But outside of that, you can buy stuff, you can walk in and do almost anything. I wish more shows would do that, right? Like, the more you come in and the more you see, the more you want to then participate and buy a badge. And so I hope more shows start following suit.
Yeah, and if you're a miniatures game player, this is the place to get inspired.
This is the best.
Place to get inspired.
Absolutely.
And well, we're here to talk about BattleTech because we're getting a refit, so there's a lot of new stuff coming, and we're going to talk about where it fits in. Nothing's obsolete from what I understand.
Correct.
There's maybe a couple mech sheets that change a little bit.
Yeah, like
with weapons or something.
0.005% of the record.
Yeah, so you'll probably never even play those.
Probably never even see them. Yep.
Yep. So I guess the place to start is the starter box.
Yeah.
The starter box fits in after the beginner box, before the clan box?
Well, so the best way to talk it is kind of step back a little bit and go that the current core rulebook for BattleTech Total Warfare is like 19 years old. I can't believe it's already that old because that makes me extra old. But really it's okay, and it's basically older than all the other rule books before to the time frame that they had. So you can see some of those back here as part of this big celebration and wonderful time here.
I owned it.
I know, right? We have this great diorama set up. I'm sure he'll take some more photos that actually walks through the entire history of all the box sets and rule books. And Total Warfare is literally longer than all the other previous rule books combined. And so we just get better. We interact more with our community. We know what they use and what they don't use. So we actually ran like a 6-month open playtest, which is the largest that we've ever run before for BattleTech, to playtest new rules and new changes that we were going to implement. Some of which we ultimately decided, you know what, they're not working. The community has shown us that they're not working. Excellent, we'll set that aside. The vast majority of it absolutely works. The majority of the community really is excited to see this. So we're folding that into this new rule book that'll come out in August, just called the Core Rulebook. Nice, easy, simple. That will replace Total Warfare and the BattleMech manual. At that time, it replaces both of them, because all the BattleMech manual is mech focused, right? Whereas Total Warfare was all of it. And so it's actually there to replace both of them. But that's when we're like, you know, if we're going to do that, why don't we just come out with a new starter box and a core box that completely replaces the beginner box in Game of Armored Combat?
Oh, okay.
And actually Clan Invasion. So all of those items are going out of print. They won't exist anymore. Okay. So beginner box, a Game of Armored Combat, the Clan Invasion box, and then Total Warfare and BattleMech manual are all being replaced with the starter box, core box, and new core rulebook. Okay. They are also moving fully into the ilClan era timeline. For those maybe not really knowledgeable about BattleTech, it basically covers 1,000 years of lore. And because of that span, it's divided up into different eras that kind of represent the big story plots that were unfolding at that point. So Star League, Succession Wars, Clan Invasion, and so on. And across those 40 years of BattleTech, it's always been a universe that's developed and grown, and the arrow of time keeps moving forward. And so we're right now into our new era of a few years now called the ilClan era. new mechs, new storylines, lots of great stuff. And so both of those box sets are fully moved from what was originally the Succession Wars era up into the ilClan era. And so the difference between the two then is your starter box is $30. It's 2 mechs, quick start rules. It's I want to dip my toe in. BattleTech looks interesting. Giant stomping robots are awesome, but I'm not really sure if I want to go all in. So then $30, and you can have a couple of hours of really good fun that's going to let you know, hey, this is for me, or nah, that was fun, but not really my job. I'm going to go grab another war game, which is great, right? So many awesome war games out there. Then from there, you have the core box, and that then brings you fully into the game, right? That's 8 miniatures, much more robust rule system, 24-page lore booklet that really brings it to life. That's the full box experience. And then, of course, BattleTech is a really big lore-centric, game-centric, and you can't possibly get everything in one box. And so then you have the Core Rulebook, that if you're really loving it and want to go full in, you're then grabbing that book.
That's going to make it a lot easier for players to get in, for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, I was still thinking, the beginner box and all this is going to be down there. That's going to change some of my thinking as to what I'm going to film in the next month. I was getting ready to do a full run through of every box set.
Nope.
But so Mercenary and Aces, that's all.
Those are all still completely compatible. Absolutely.
Excellent. That is excellent because they look wonderful. So one of the coolest features, I guess, is I can't remember which one it is. The beginner box is going to have, well, not the beginner box, the new starter box.
The starter box, yeah.
It's going to incorporate some of the clan rules which were absent from the original kind of a starter box.
Well,
so would you say it's a little bit more complicated of a rule set?
Yes. But not really, right?
Okay.
So we were actually, again, I've been working on BattleTech now for 30 years. Just stunning for me to say that out loud. Across multiple companies, a whole series of different box sets, and every company had a discussion of, do we want to do when we do our new box set, do we want to move it in the timeline forward from a time when there wasn't a lot of weapon systems until there was a lot more weapon systems. And one of our questions was, does that make it a little too complicated for the place you're starting? Even in the core box, in a game of armored combat, should we have more material in there? And one of the things we found is there's something called the BattleTech Grinder. And it's a style of play where you basically have a series of tiers of mechs, and you sit down and you grab a mech and you play, and it's a crappy mech and you're going to die really fast. But the cool thing is if you're having a good time, you can immediately upgrade to the next tier that's a cooler, better mech. And you grab that and you sit down and play, and that gets blown out from under you, and you grab the next better mech and the next better mech, right? And they've been, our demo team are the ones that kind of developed this over the last 2 decades, maybe a little longer. It's one of the best ways to play. It's incredibly fun, super easy to get into it, right? You can play for 5 minutes, you can play for 5 hours, right? It's really adaptable. Well, I was building a retail version of this, so much tighter focused, but it also meant that it needed to be like the 5 best-selling sets of mechs. The core box, like a Game of Armored Combat, Clan Invasion box, and then like the 4 Force packs that are best sellers, because you want retailers to be able to have the best selling items in that.
Right.
Well, what that meant was, because it's all compacted down, it meant that I could then sit down at a table and grab a clan mech out of the gate. Was that going to be a problem? We've used it for over a year now, and every bit of data that we have says it's not a problem at all. Players absolutely can adapt to it easily. And so with that in mind, then we're like, yeah, let's go all in. Now with the starter box in particularly, we've designed it so that you have a first mission sheet, and it'll say first mission on it. And it's literally just movement, and rolling some dice and shooting a couple of weapon systems. So none of the other things are on there. It's as tight and as focused. Baby steps, right? Then you set that aside for your second mission and grab that same mech sheet, but now it's got a couple of more weapon systems on it. And you rotate to the back and it'll have a little paragraph about, here's the Hammerhead's hardened armor. Really simple sentence about here's how it works. No flavor, none of the other stuff that you can get later on, just a quick sentence of this is exactly what it does. It now takes 2 points of damage to eliminate 1 circle of armor. Done. And so it's nice little baby steps. And then it also shows the full record sheet, because even in the starter box there's still things on like the Contio with triple strength armor. Well, there's no heat management in the starter box because that's a little, we stripped that out, right? But you can then point them and go, hey, but guess what? That little punch attack that you just did with the Contio, you can double your damage when you're playing the full game. And that's exciting, right? That gets people...
You gave them some snacks, too.
You get them some snacks. And so the beginner box set did phenomenally well for us. It didn't have any of those type of baby steps in it. So we actually think the starter box is now an even better version of what the beginner box did.
It sounds like it, because when I picked up the beginner box, and I mean, mind you, I started playing like 87.
Sure. So
like I had the original starter box and it had everything from the get-go, and I was like, this is a little watered down for me.
Yeah, and it's meant to be watered down because really it's meant usually for younger kids. Doesn't mean adults can't grab it, right?
Right. But somebody brand new to the game.
Yeah, but our experience is usually that skews younger. It's actually why we chose the mechs we did, because as always when we get into these things, there's me and Ray Aresti, the line developer, and Aaron Cahill, the assistant line developer, Bryn, who's my creative assistant. All of us have our list of mechs. These are what they should be. And then we get to have several days of intense discussions about, no, it should be this list. No, it should be this list. It's all sorts of fun. But what we came down to, what ended up winning for the starter box, is the Hammerhead, which is rather shark-like, and the Contio, which is rather bear-like. And so then you get to have a moment where you have the kid come up, as we see some of them around us right now looking at the mechs going, yes, giant stompy robots, and you're able to hold that box cover up to them and say, do you want to fight with the bear or the shark? The vibe of that is excellent, and that's exactly what you get. So we're really excited about that.
What was that thing that you and I played when we were kids? Those little beasts that fought each other with the different spirits.
Oh yeah,
that kind of idea.
Yeah.
Whatever that is,
absolutely. Whatever that was. But yeah, so we got that, and then just a whole new set of mechs. The really cool thing in the core box then was to select a set of 8 mechs that actually covers 30 plus years of history, right?
Phenomenal.
And so there's like phenomenal. 2 mechs out of the original technical readout 3055 that came out in 92, right? There's a mech from 3067, so a little bit of FanPro era. There are 2 mechs that came out of MechWarrior 4 Vengeance, right? There's a mech that first showed up in MechWarrior Dark Age, and then 2 that are our brand new recognition guys. The large scale, right?
The Uzil.
And so it allowed us to pull together a set of minis that covers this massive time period. So if you're brand new to the game, obviously it doesn't matter what the list is. Just make them cool and they'll be good.
If you play the video game.
But we've been around long enough that we have cycles of players. And so no matter where you cycled in or out, you can look and go, I remember that mech. Oh wow, this is awesome.
I know from experience.
Yeah. No, we've had an endless commentary of that online here at the show. And I'm very grateful for that, and that's amazing how much people love the mechs that were chosen for these sets.
Not many games have the staying power
they don't.
that BattleTech has, or even Shadowrun for that matter. I mean,
absolutely.
They've survived a bankruptcy.
It's multiple companies.
They survived
it is, and it's a huge testament to how amazing BattleTech is itself, to all the creatives, but of course an amazing testament to all the community. We just wouldn't exist, we wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be having the greatest renaissance that BattleTech's ever seen if it wasn't for the amazing community all over the world.
So I do know from the release information that if you guys want to know more, you can go find the playtest information, and you can find what's actually being changed.
Absolutely.
And I'll try and remember to put the link in the bottom. And since I'm going to edit this,
yeah, there's a full, yeah, there was a final PDF. Keith Hahn, giant shout out to him. He was our lead developer on the rules side, the tip of the spear. You know, me and Ray constantly stomping in and putting our fingers all in the pipe. But Keith is the one that led the charge, and he did a write-up, an excellent set of thoughts about the overall process in that PDF, and then we put in a complete change log of everything that's in there. Yep.
So it's going to release at Gen Con.
Yep.
Will there be events at Gen Con featuring the new rules and stuff?
You know what? That I actually can't quite tell you. That's more of a Michael question.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's going to line up right to have some of those events. I believe there will be at least one event, maybe like a big grinder that has all of the new rules on it. I kind of doubt that any of the big tournaments will have it because
they're already scheduled.
They're scheduled, and the book, you know, is just now out when it's going on. So I don't think that, but I imagine there will be like a really cool big grinder and some demos where people can sit down and play and get to know the new rules.
Anything else you want to add about it?
Oh man,
What was your favorite part about it?
Oh, my favorite part. Holy cow. I think my favorite part was that after all these years, like 30 years, and how many rule books that I have worked on, that I could still work with Keith. Again, I've had such a great relationship working with Keith, and I could look at it with some new eyes and still find ways to improve it. Right?
Yeah.
No matter how many times we've done this, the game is robust enough that we can go, you know what? What if we do this? I think, yeah, that'll make it easier to understand. That'll make it better, right? And then the other thing, just because it's a fun thing, for those that really know your BattleTech, you'll know that autocannons are just, they're terrible. The introduction of double heat sinks just wrecked them. But BattleTech also is a game and universe that doesn't obsolete anything, right? As I said, there's like 4,200 playable record sheets that are out there.
That's a lot.
And these rules obsoleted like 40 of them. So there's almost no game in existence that does this, right? That has this breadth of time that you can just grab a record sheet out of this box.
It's not really a new edition.
That one that I bought in 1986 and sit down and play, and it's fully compatible with the new ones, right? But trying to like, okay, so we can't change the record sheet. What can we do with autocannons to improve them a little bit? And we had endless arguments about what if we did this? What if we did this? What if we did this? And then an idea dawned on me is that, well, what if they're just more rugged? And so you mark down the first critical on the sheet and then you ignore it completely. Changes not a single bit of it. It doesn't do anything to the record sheets, no stats are changed, and suddenly all autocannons get a nice little rugged boost. It was that type of thing that were some of my favorite moments in this development process, right? Right?
So they don't get blown off.
Well, they still will.
With like they lose the arm.
No. Even if you know, when the second crit comes in, it's going to go down.
Okay.
But they get to ignore that first crit. And
yeah. I was thinking backwards.
Yeah. And that's such a great thing. Doesn't change the record sheet, changes nothing. You're still marking it off, but I just get to go, oh, only one crit, they're rugged, they're going to shrug that off. And suddenly it doesn't completely fix all the problems, but it does give them a nice little boost. Well, so that was really cool to have those moments.
You can use that in other applications too if you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, those were some of my favorite bits, is to come up with those moments as well as just presenting it and finding ways to word it that takes this thing that we love so much and we love doing. And you know, right in there in the other hall, if you get some photos of there,
I've been over there.
Piles of games going on. It's totally glorious.
The grinders look like a blast.
We can just make it that much better and that much easier to use. That's glorious to me.
Grinders are a blast. I'll be running a grinder.
So much fun
at my house the first weekend of May.
Absolutely. If you get a chance to play in one, dive right in. They are some of the most fun ways to play BattleTech.
Grinders are almost what I was looking for, which was called a gunslinger. I don't know if you remember them.
Oh, absolutely.
I loved the gunslinger.
Yeah?
I loved the idea of bringing a mech around.
Yeah.
But I think Grinder takes that up a notch.
It does.
It takes it up a notch because
you
basically respawn.
Yeah, you just respawn. Yeah, the problem with BattleTech, as much as everyone loves the idea of the Grinder, is it's not a one-on-one game. It's just a little too easy to get the headshot, to get the golden BB, you know, 3 engine hits, down goes your pristine Highlander.
Yeah, they're what, 6, 8 players?
6 to 8. I mean, I've run almost 20 players one time on a BFM. Now, that's insanity. You shouldn't do that. But usually it's about 6 to 12 players. And then you're just endlessly respawning, and they're constantly leaving, and new ones are coming in. It's just, I can't sing its praises enough. And again, huge shout out to our demo agents. We're the ones that developed that over these last 2 decades. Brilliant, brilliant game system, brilliant way to do it.
And those rules are available online for free.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're under the events stuff.
Yep, just run up there, grab it. You've got all the details. You're off and running.
Or it's on the website too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. I think, man, that was awesome.
No, absolutely. Thanks for coming out and interviewing.
Stoked. Yeah. Well, I drove up here in 9 hours to basically do this. This was my goal.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we had a great interview.
We did.
Awesome.
And, yeah, I was surprised by your favorite moments. A lot of people would be like, "Well, this one little, you know." No, but that's awesome. Yeah. The passion is still there after 40 years.
I think at this point I was genetically predisposed to do this. The vast majority of people that work in this industry, it's a hard thing we do.
Yes.
Right? We're underpaid, we're overworked. And so the vast majority of people last 10, 15 years and then they burn out and they have to go do something else. And that's working on multiple things.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I have been able to have my hands in BattleTech in a whole variety of different ways for 30 years now, and I can now dive in to the rules again for the 10,000th time and still find joy and excitement in it. Yeah, at this point, how was I not genetically predisposed to do this one thing?
I think that's he's a clan.
Yeah, that's right. Bred true. I mean, you know, little Novacat action. Awesome.
All right. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Bye, all.